Hi everyone, this is Joan and Callie from Q&A, a podcast by President Lincoln's Cottage.
While we're talking to experts researching for the show, we sometimes end up with interesting bits that don't quite fit in the main episode, but we don't think that should keep you all from hearing them.
This bonus episode accompanies episode 8.3, Is the House Haunted? So if you haven't listened to that one yet, it might be a good place to start.
In talking to Michele Hanks, who researches ghost hunting and ghost tourism, we wanted to know if there was anywhere she'd encountered ghost tours that were especially thoughtful in their approach.
Yeah, I definitely have. I think there are a couple of models I've seen people work with successfully. My favorite, and I think they're no longer running it for varieties of reasons, but Peterborough, which is like a small town not that small, but it's a town in Cambridgeshire in England. They have the Peterborough Museum, and it's like just like a local museum with like an operating table, like an operating theater from I think the 19th century, maybe 18th century, some dinosaur bones. But the person who was in charge of it was just really interested in local ghost lore, and he ran an outstanding ghost walk. But what was outstanding, in my opinion, about it is that when people would start to stray from known narratives, or when he invited people to do ghost hunts at his museum, he was there. He's like, oh, actually, no, that's not possible. That's not real. He was kind of there fact checking and being like, oh, wait, that probably couldn't be the case, right? But he was like, I'm going to be here and I'm going to mediate this for you. So I think, and then that keeps the impulse to kind of build on the horror in check for participants. I think the level of control a site can exert over how a ghost story is told is really helpful. And even in the commercial ghost tourism zone, full on commercial, I think there are ethical models there as well. Burrows of the Dead in New York City is an amazing ghost tour company. They're very deliberate about how they tell stories. They actively engage what's known about the past. They deliberate the politics of what they're saying for the present. I think you can engage ghosts very thoughtfully and with great care.
And Ben Alderson-Day told us more about what the science says about what makes something feel spooky.
I think when it comes to presence, where people have tried to manipulate this, often what we're looking for is how does the mind detect agency, detect the movement or action of a potential other. And by agent, I mean somebody who's kind of in charge of their own actions. We see a tree, even if it moves in the wind, we don't feel like it has agency. It can't kind of behave unpredictably. It can't decide to move towards us unless you're watching The Evil Dead or something like that. Whereas our brains are very good for evolutionary reasons for spotting, potential movement, which indicates an agent. And some, say, visual artists and people working in kind of architecture and design have tried to create spaces which create illusions of agency, drawing upon some of the neuroscience of this work as well and how you can evoke presences experimentally. And I guess the key upshot of those things is that no one space or kind of setup really works for everyone. Everybody takes something in with them, which is their expectations of how we spot agency. And it's often this kind of sweet spot of sensory kind of stillness and calmness, and then sudden evocations of movement. It's kind of hard to describe why and how people notice it, but some people would notice it in the movement of a set of curtains or something like that. I mean, this is why the experts at this are actually directors of horror movies, right? They're people who know what the mind can do. It's stuff out of the corner of your eye. It's actually often less is more. It's why in any sort of horror film, as soon as you actually see the monster, it's no longer that scary. You need part of the picture, and your mind can create the rest. In fact, there was you may have seen it. There was a movie from Steven Soderbergh which came out in the UK. It was the start of 2025. It might have been late 24 in the US, called Presence. And it's all shot from the perspective of the ghost, so it's a kind of single shot movie, more or less, where you only ever see the ghost's perspective, and a kind of story unfolds. That's worth a watch for your team, and indeed some of your visitors potentially, if they're interested in evoking other kinds of shivers.
Plus, Ben has a way for you to participate in his research if you want to.
I mean, one thing we didn't talk about so much is readers and writers and their vivid experience of kind of characters and the presence of characters. And we have done some research on that in the past. We in fact have if any of your listeners are really avid readers, We have a project going on at the moment called Reader Bank, which we developed in collaboration with Edinburgh International Book Festival, and that's all about really vivid imaginative experiences in relation to reading, and how actually there are many different kinds of readers, in terms of people who have like a mind's eye, or people it's all about sound, people it's about places, people it's about feelings, and that's something that anybody can go and take part in. It's at readerbank.org, and it touches on a lot of the things we've been talking about today. It is reading focused, but for us, we kind of see it all as part of this continuum of kind of vivid and unusual experiences.
If you decide to contribute, please let us know.
Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate you coming along with us for Season 8, and you'll hear from us again soon.
This episode was produced by me, Joan Cummins, with Callie Hawkins, Haley Bryant, and additional support from the President Lincoln's Cottage team. Music for Q&A was written, performed, and is copyrighted by Clancy Newman.
Q&A is made possible by listeners like you. You can support the show by joining Team Lincoln at lincolncottage.org, where you can also check out our other online and in-person programming. You can also reach us at podcast@lincolncottage.org.
President Lincoln's Cottage is a home for brave ideas. Stay curious.